Good evening, everybody. This is Kavita Srinivasan, aka KS, here with Converse with KS, live with Dr. Biman Saikia. Nurture Life presents Converse with KS. This is a social impact show where we talk about everything and anything that people would not want to talk about, and we reveal the lives of people who have created an amazing journey for themselves. And we look forward to impressing you with their journey. Dr. Saikia, welcome to Converse with KS, and thank you so much for accepting our invitation.
Thank you. Thank you so much for calling me to the show. I'm really looking forward to the conversation. Thank you, Kay. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure to have you. So, without further ado, let me introduce Dr. Biman Saikia. I would say he's an enigma, a man with a mission to probably prove the world wrong in terms of who you can be and who you can not be perceived to be. Dr. Biman Saikia here, by the way, is a very accomplished medical professional. He is in the Department of Immunopathology at one of the most prestigious medical universities in India, JIPMA we call it, PGI Chandigarh, and he's a professor in the Department of Immunopathology. Along with that, he is the head of the Department of Telemedicine and National Institute of Telemedicine. He's actually on, heading this particular department. Along with that, he's also a nodal officer for various health initiatives by the Ministry of Health and Welfare through the government of India. He's also a nodal officer for AI, which means innovation is also something that is in his kitty at PGI Chandigarh. Now, the most beautiful thing about this human being that I see is that he is an amazing musician, a singer, and an artist. You all would be very, very surprised and also probably very happy to know that he has his own music albums. Some of them are Channa, Tumi Nailyu. These are original music videos, by the way, by composed by himself, and then it runs on Times Music and Dhwani Records, which is a blend of tradition and innovation. Now, Panchi Akela, Aja Panchi Akela, if any of you have not seen it, please go and Google it up. And this is an amazing video that himself and 25-year-old friend Dr. Brol got on, and it became viral to a point where News 18 and India Today found these two. And along with that, he also has an artistic journey. He is acted in music videos such as Ram Ram, Jai Raja Ram, and Jism Di Mitti. He has many original music videos to his name. Babisilo is something that you should, it's one of the most beautiful videos because I don't understand the language. But if you see that music video, you will be enthralled. And along with that, quite a few of them on YouTube. It is Nabayur Bisar and Tum Jo Ab, आंखों में मौसम बहारों के एक सपना आशिकी रख दिया. Along with this, there are a lot more that he has made covers for. Let's talk to Dr. Biman Saikia. Dr. Saikia, my first question would be regarding this journey of a collaboration or a confluence of music and medicine. How did this happen? Please tell
Well,
us.
thank you. First of all, thank you for that kind introduction. And I'm really glad to be in this show. And my tryst with music would take me back to my college days, because when I was a youngster, I was drawn towards music, but somehow I didn't realize that I could be, I could be a singer. I could, and people would like me that way. It was only after I actually joined medical college and that I realized, and this all happened during the so-called
Yes.
ragging that happens, in the college, because those days ragging used to happen. Ragging actually has its own positive aspects also, though people today take it as a negative thing. But during those ragging times, the seniors, they used to ask me to sing. So when I started singing and they started appreciating, and that at that point I realized that I actually can sing, and that's how I started singing in medical college. I started taking part in the competitions, in the the annual shows of the college. And then when I moved out from my medical college and came to Delhi and subsequent to Chandigarh, and then I met a couple of friends, with whom I started doing these regular, you know, college shows, rather competitions. And it was just one step at a time. It kept on going one step after the other. And then I suddenly met a friend who is currently my music director, Sushant. He's in Mumbai right now, and he's a good music producer. And when I came in contact with him, then actually I started doing it as a professional level. That's when that started in 2006. And from then onwards, think one of the other things kept on happening, and this is where I am right now with you, giving this interview.
And it's such a beautiful thing because now that you talked about ragging, one of the most important things I think today, I think in today's world, it is a little lesser. But then when we talk about ragging, the impact that it has on the mental well-being of kids, I think today ragging has changed to different ways, where it is to do with body shaming, it has to do with their social status, it has to do with so much. Now, how do you think, because you see, back in our days, I do understand that it was a little different, when we were growing up and ragging used to happen. In today's world, it is so much I think of great importance to be able to handle that kind of a pressure, because the kids of today's generation, or even the generations, the millennials from there on, have challenges. How do you think this can be handled when you're talking about
So ragging actually, it has its
the
own.
mental pressure that these
Yeah,
youngsters are in?
absolutely right. Ragging, if you take it in the negative, because ragging doesn't mean always the negative aspect of it. There are some positive aspects to it as well, because when we were in college, ragging used to be a method of getting introduced to your seniors. And there used to be a harsh component to it, but again, there used to be a very smooth transition from being introduced to your seniors, and where subsequently those are the seniors who become your guides. They guide you through your. When I joined medical college, the people who actually I met through ragging were the ones who actually guided me through my career and gave me so much of positivity in my whole career. So ragging is not
Good.
all negative, but yes,
Yeah,
in today's perspective, because it has taken into other dimensions. It has started affecting the psyche of the
correct.
youngsters, and the way the things had changed. The social structure has changed. I guess now ragging has a different implication, and to the extent that it is now taken as a negative thing. So our times are different, and
Correct.
definitely our times are different.
Yes. Right. So I think, it was not more psychologically damaging, and I think it has taken different levels, and that's hence, and it has become intense. It has come to a point
Yes, yes.
where, it causes stress and trauma in people, and that is, I think, where it needs to be addressed in a different way. And I think that's why most of the universities today have anti-ragging policies, anti-bullying policies, which is a great thing, I think. Now, with regards to your journey into, because I know that you also love poetry, and there seems to be a connect between poetry, your thought process, and the kind of songs that you pick. And then I somehow have a feeling that all these are basically in confluence with your profession itself. For some reason, I have a feeling that, and I've seen that you seem to sort of balance your profession with your poetry. How do you do this?
To
Because I see that
that,
you pick your songs as per your moods of what has happened in
yeah,
college or with
that's all. Every
profession.
singer would actually do that. You'd pick up a song according to your mood, and somehow, I somehow always use tend to pick very soulful ghazal. Most of the I am very fond of ghazals because that's a genre I like, and I love romantic songs, and that has been my interest right from the beginning. Because it may be because I grew up in an environment where there was no harshness. It was a very my family and the kind of people I was around, and I was right from my childhood I was very close to nature. And I grew up in a hill station called Shillong, and actually my birthplace
Ah,
is a very remote place in Meghalaya. It's very close to the Bangladesh border. It's a very small village, and that's why I was born.
oh,
That's where I was born because my dad, he was in the police, so he used to get transfer. It was a transferable job. He used to get transferred from place to place.
okay.
So I was born in Shela. It's a place called Shela, and my childhood was in Shillong. It was a lot of nature. I have been somehow very close to nature all through. And I'd also like to say that painting is actually my first love. I started painting at a very early
Yeah,
age.
I see that you were an artist. I was going to reveal it later.
Yeah. So yeah. So I was very close to nature, so that's how maybe that has impacted my psyche as a whole, and I've always been like that. I tend to pick songs which would affect very soulful songs, and that kind of a thing. Yes, it's somehow when you speak up, when your soul speaks up, speaks, you tend to merge with what you're actually going through. So medical profession is something where you have to be in a very close connect with your patients, and unless you are compassionate, and unless you really feel how your patients, what they are going through during those moments of uh, not their sufferings. So you have to be very compassionate, and to be compassionate you have to have a soul, and to have a soul, that kind of a connect that has, I guess, always happened, and that's why maybe.
Your journey as a doctor itself, because you have picked immunopathology as one of your as your major, and that's basically what you are into. Along with that, I see that you actually are into innovation, which means healthcare AI in healthcare. Can you please shed some light on that? Because I come from the healthcare background, so I actually studied lab technology in the US, and I've always been very
Wow.
close to healthcare, and I think it's my first love. Uh, so I would love to know about, what because when I was reading through your profile, healthcare and innovation, and then of course AI in healthcare today is a very huge thing. So please shed some light on that.
Artificial intelligence is making an impact not only in healthcare, everywhere. I mean, these days you cannot be away
Everywhere,
from
yes.
artificial intelligence. The right from the moment you wake up in the morning and Google through so many things, it's all AI based. We are actually in AI day in day out. So there's no way that you be can be away from AI, and definitely AI has made its impact in healthcare also. And there's so many projects happening, so many advancements happening which are based on AI. And our institute actually has been designated as the center of excellence for developing AI tools for healthcare. And since I'm heading that
Wow.
department, telemedicine, we were given this. So I have this responsibility of making healthcare professionals, think of applying AI. Now, everybody knows what AI is, but how you apply it to healthcare. So that is where I,
Yes.
bring in innovators, bring in people who would like to work in AI into a platform where they are given the opportunity to work and develop tools for AI in healthcares. So yeah, we're running a lot of projects in our center, and the government is helping us with all the manpower, everything possible. And yes, health, it's going to make a huge impact in future. It is.
I do believe so. I do believe so because one of the most important things I think also that, just now we are post COVID. So COVID must have been something of a very interesting subject because
Oh
you belong to
yes,
that exact, so
COVID.
it was, I
Yeah.
think, the pandemic was a lifetime opportunity for, people who are in your, in your genre to be able to discover so much, because it's only once in a lifetime that I think a doctor actually gets an opportunity to go through a pandemic of this level. So how did you deal with that particular situation?
Actually, you were right. The pandemic actually taught us a lot. And I'd also like to say that you and me, we belong to a generation who has seen the transition from the traditional field to the digital world. And this is something that our generation is very lucky, because the current generation hasn't seen the old one, where there was no digital
Yes,
world. I mean, we were totally unaware of we became aware of internet when I was actually out of my medical college. I already done my medical college.
exactly.
So, the impact the digital technology has made now is immense, and we have seen the transition. So we know the difference. The current generation would not know the difference, because they have born, they were born with the internet. So that is one thing. And the
Correct.
but the impact the COVID pandemic has made on the psyche of all the people. During the pandemic, we realized that since the patient cannot come to a doctor, and we have to rely on something, so the telecommunication, our department, the telemedicine department, made so much of impact, and people actually realized the importance of the digital technology. And that's where the I guess the a lot of things has changed. And this impact is really immense. It has changed the psyche of
Yes.
all the people, and not only doctors, the psyche of the
Everybody.
in the public as a whole. Now they depended on, otherwise what used to happen, unless a patient goes to a doctor physically, he's not satisfied. But once you are given a situation where you cannot go to a doctor, and yet you have to see a doctor, and that happened, and they actually came to
Yes.
believe that yes, it can happen, and the change is gradually happening, and it's going to make it impact. Now, e-health is a huge subject now.
Necessity. Yes, yes. Necessity is the mother of invention. And a very interesting thing that
Absolutely.
I would like to shed light upon is years ago, even when telemedicine was not talked about, I was in a project with teleradiology.
Wow.
So, what we used to do is the x rays used to come across from the United States to India, and teleradiologists sitting in India would assess and real time upload the diagnosis so the patient can have treatment immediately and not wait because of the time difference. So that advantage
Yes.
that you can have, where the world is an oyster and you can actually consult doctors from across the world, is what teleradiology all about. So there are pros and cons of what we have done as a global world in terms of internet. I think we have to take the pros and let the cons go. I think there's also a lot of mental impact on the mental well-being of people who are totally hooked to internet and the phones, because I've had so many parents suffering, children who used to be able to go out and play, who used to go out and do things,
We
physically.
used to. We used to.
Exactly. That I think became has become worse during the COVID era, where because they were locked in, and now even after we are out of it post COVID, they're hooked to the same digital assets. So,
That's right.
what is the
Yeah.
advice you would? Because I do believe that it has a lot of effect on mental well-being of children.
It's life is all about making a balance. Excess of everything is bad. So no doubt it has its negative aspects, in the sense that people are now hooked to the internet, and the current generation, they are so used to being internet, and they don't make friends. They have social friends, but they don't have real friends. So that negative impact has been there, but we have to look at the advantages also. Now now the current generation is has so much of knowledge. They are much more knowledgeable than what we used to be during our childhood, because they have so much of access to knowledge. It's in their palm top now. So again, that also brings to a aspect that now you have to filter out, because internet is, 80% would be junk, and you have to filter out that 20%, and you have to play intelligent. And that's what I would say, that ultimately the individual, whoever is, he has to play it intelligently. You have to, take out the good,
Yeah,
filter
yeah.
out the bad. That is and you have to strike a balance in life.
And I think also now, thank God, I mean, there are a lot of parental controls that have been, I used to talk about it quite a lot. And I'm so happy to see that, when you're looking at YouTube or when you're looking at even the television for that matter, you have parental controls. So responsible parenting, I believe, is a very huge,
Very important, very
necessity in today's world to filter out what your children are seeing and be very responsible. Active parenting is important. This passive parenting of giving the kids your gadget and then disappearing because you want them out of your skin, I think needs to stop, because we never had that. Our parents always knew what we were doing, and even as parents, we always knew what our children are doing. Coming to parenting itself, as a doctor, and how did you and Mrs. Saikia manage, because it's a very challenging profession. Yours is a very challenging profession. I'm not sure, Mrs. Saikia, is she working, or is she a homemaker?
she's
And if she
also,
is
and we are in the
working,
same
then of course,
profession. Yeah, we're in the same profession. She's also a pathologist. We're actually in the same
wow,
institute. We work in the same building. So actually, we're
wow.
in the same profession. Yes.
That
Yeah,
actually is
parent.
a good and bad thing. Now it comes to a very important question. How did you manage parenting?
Yeah, parenting
It must have been
has
very
been
challenging.
difficult.
How did you
I'll
manage?
admit, I'll admit that, because we were actually senior residents when we actually had our kids, and those were very tasking times. And we were at a place where our parents were also not around. Ultimately, we rely so much on in the housemates that we are, the keepers that we have. But parenting has been really difficult, and but we're lucky that our children turned out to be, intelligent, good. They are in their own professions now. They are good, but parenting has been difficult. I think this is a challenge which every couple in this generation faces. They face it each day. So again, it comes back to the same thing. You have to strike a balance. Profession, no doubt, you have to keep up with your profession, but not to that extent that your children suffer. So again, it's come back to the same point, that you have to strike a balance. It has been difficult, but now, yes, I think we did it right. And
Yeah, work-life balance.
yes, work life balance is very crucial.
Thank God. And I know that your daughter is an amazing singer too. I've heard
Yeah,
her, and she's also an amazing singer, so seems to run in the family. So, as yeah,
my son is also amazing. he
go
he
ahead.
actually sings very well. My daughter is also sings well, and my wife also actually sings. So it's in the family. It's in the family. Yes, you're right.
So if I have to say it in a very nice and a funny way too, it is like, oh, ये genetic problem है. Genetic.
Genetic problem.
So,
The family
um,
problem.
when you genetic problem, right? So it's from both sides. So when it comes to adolescence, I do believe that parents struggle with adolescence, because adolescence is one stage where children go through a lot of mental aberrations. They have a lot of problems, uh, especially today's generation. I'm sure that you as medical professionals, you deal with a lot of parents having issues with children and adolescents, and how do we deal with it, and counseling, and your thoughts on this entire scenario of how do we deal with being proactive parents. I believe in healthy debates, I believe in healthy discussions. Dinner table discussions are important on issues that are facing them, thinking that हमारे ज़माने में ये नहीं हुआ, hence we don't need to speak about it, I believe is actually the first reason why you're losing your hold on your children or that connect with your kids. So the generation balance is something that I believe is important, where we open up a dialogue. Your thoughts on this?
Uh, yes, Kay, you are very right in that, because the psyche of the children is according to what they have faced in their own generation now, and is very different from what we faced. So we cannot compare ourselves with their generation. हम ये नहीं कह सकते कि हमारे ज़माने में नहीं हुआ था तो यहाँ भी नहीं होना चाहिए. So we have to keep pace with them. We have to be their friends. We have to understand their psyche and move along with them rather than opposing them. And it's human nature that if you say no to something, the curiosity of getting close to that and getting that thing done is, it's a natural instinct. जितना मना करोगे उतना ही उसके लिए जो करने की जो वो होती है. So that is one thing that we have to be very careful about, and not say a big no should not be there. We should, try to understand
Find
what
the
the
balance
child is
somewhere.
going through, and then talk it out rather than opposing. Talk it out and go with them, and then sort the whole thing out. It's make them understand that what you think, you can put your give your opinion, ask for their opinion, and then strike a balance, and that's how you go through. I totally agree that it's a
So
very
it
difficult.
basically agree to disagree and find.
Yes, yes, yes.
What would be the advice? Because you see, there are a lot. You see, back in our days, it was if you were not a doctor or a lawyer or an engineer, okay, it meant that you have not studied or done anything big in life. So was that the
Yes.
same with you, or was medicine a profession that you chose to?
I chose this was a choice I made. This was a choice I made because during our times, good children who are good in studies either are engineers or doctors, and that's how our mind frame used to be, and that how we were programmed to be. So I had decided to be a doctor long back, and it's fortunate that I could become one, but the our options were very limited at that time. We had very few options. Now the current generation has so many options, and whatever field they go, they can excel. So our options were very limited. So no doubt, both my kids are not doctors, and they were very clear about it that we don't want to be doctors at all, because they have seen us. No,
They must
because
have seen you.
yes, the medical profession is something which is it takes a lot of input, and it takes a very long time to actually establish yourself. So that they have seen, and they still see, and they're used to this situation, because you know uh, we are either both of us are still preparing powerpoints to and to take our classes, or still going for conferences, and we're still trying writing manuscripts and papers so that we publish a thing. So that thing is still on, and it's going to be there for so many coming years. So they have seen
God
us
knows,
doing.
yeah.
So they said no to the medical profession, which is a welcome step. I mean, that's absolutely fine, because there's so many options these days, and we should rather encourage what the child wants to do, and let them do it. That's it. They can excel.
So yes, definitely. I think that you see the choice is something that when people do something of their choice and out of their passion, they excel at it. So letting
Absolutely.
children bloom like flowers is important, but you have to become that fertilizer and the water and the oxygen that they will need to sort of bloom into those flowers. Otherwise, they're going to become weeds. I think that's something that is very important to know.
Absolutely, absolutely
Um,
right.
while you are, because of the fact, yeah, you're one of the most prestigious, you're part of one of the most prestigious medical universities in the country. You must be seeing people from different walks of life, different cultures, different backgrounds, and on an overall level, when you're dealing with these students, all of them have different challenges. What was one of the challenges that you had when you were looking at these youngsters trying to achieve? Because it would be an advice that you would be giving to people who want to pursue medicine, because it is not easy. There are a lot of sacrifices and compromises that you have to make. So from your experience as part of this medical faculty and of one of these most prestigious universities, because I remember, I think when you want to pick a general surgery seat, 14,000 seats and 14,000 people appear, 14 or 20,000 and one seat you have at JIPMA. The reason I remember is it was my cousin brother, my mama's son, who actually got that seat years ago at JIPMA.
Now,
So he's one of the right now one of the most established, yeah, hepatobiliary transplant surgeons. I think there are only three in the country. He's one of them. So pretty, so I know about JIPMA because of that. I know how he studied. So your advice on, because they come from different parts of the country. They have so many challenges. How do you deal with it, and what was one of the worst or the most difficult challenges you had as a professor with these kids?
the one thing, because it's a sudden change when a student from a totally different culture comes to an institute where it's a shock for them. The initial few months of that student are really the tough period, and that's the period where we need to nurture a student, and as we as teachers and guides, that's where we need to take care, because we have to realize that the child, when he or she has come to study at a new place where it's a socially, and it's a total change for the child, I'd say. It's very important for us to make a balance, take him into confidence and see him through, at least through the initial phases, because the cultural shock that happens, it's really tough for the kids, and so many children we have seen that they and it's a tough world, the medical profession, especially in institute like the PGI. Things are tough. There's a lot of competition, and you have to work hard, and there are, you have to long work on long shifts, and when you don't get to eat, you don't get to sleep properly. So those are the days where we have to take care of the children, and we have to really nurture them, at least in the initial phases. So when they gradually adjust to the working environment, then they do very well. But initial initial few months, we as teachers and guides have to be very careful and compassionate with our that is very important.
Correct. So the importance of a student-teacher relationship. I think, because my mom always used to say, we come from a culture, by the way, I think that entire subcontinent, we come from a culture where we believe in Guru Devo Bhava, right? That our guru is actually, like a god, because he leads us to God or the creator, and he's also a guide. It's a very important relationship, because the formative years of a uh, young child is nurtured beautifully because of a teacher, or can be destroyed because of a teacher. Why I would say this second statement is because I have seen certain teachers who have had students who may not be up to par with their, chosen level, right? And I've had them being abusive or saying, like, why are you here? Why don't you just, leave the school? Why don't you graze the cows? Or, ye tumhari bas ki baat nahi hai. Why don't you just quit? Or why don't you go and, uh, commit suicide? I've had teachers saying that. I believe that this positive impact as a teacher is very important. Your profession is one of the most blessed professions ever, one of the most difficult ones too, because you are not only a guide, you are also like a secondary parent, because children spend that much more time with you rather
Absolutely,
than anywhere else.
absolutely,
And
absolutely.
you being a role model is so important. So how have you balanced this? And of course, at the end of the day, you're also human beings. इंसान
Absolutely.
खता का पुतला होता है, तो we are not perfect either. So please shed some light on this aspect of.
I have a slightly different take on this of a guru shishya relationship, because a guru learning is a continuous process. It's not that if I am a teacher today I know everything, and I'll tell you, okay, I learn more from my students. So they are my gurus. Actually, many a times they are my gurus, and I actually learn from teaching them. And so many new things I come across, and they are the ones who are telling me that, no, sir, this is not this way. It is this way. This is what is right. So in that way, this mutual relations of being teachers, mutual teachers, basically, I'd say this is so. This is I learn more from my students. But yes, the Guru Shishya relationship is
Beautiful.
very sacred, and this we realize because in our institute we are given we are we have to be guides to their thesis. A lot of PhD students where we are supervisors.
Yes.
And this, when a PhD student enrolls under you, it's a commitment, not only from this teacher, but also from the student. It's a, your PhD takes around 4 to 5 years minimum to complete. It's a
Oh,
commitment of
yes.
4 to 5 years, not only from the teacher, but also from the because you give 5 years of your life to a teacher, or the teacher gives 5 years of his career to shape up a student. So this relation is so
Shape up.
crucial,
Yes. Yes.
and in this process both of them
Yes.
learns. you know so I think I
Yes.
take it that way.
Very much. Very much.
Students are my teachers.
I
Yes.
do believe that. I actually wanted to start this because I have a belief like that too. My mother comes also from a background of teaching, right? So she was also a lecturer, and she always used to say that I learn from you and you learn from me. And
Yeah.
education, when you spread it, is when it grows,
Yes.
right? So ilm
Yes.
बांटने से जो है ilm में इजाफा होता है. Very important.
Bilkul.
And I think I learned also from my students and from my children more. And every day is a learning process since it's not a destination, it's a journey. And that
Absolutely. It's a
synergistic relationship, I think, brings upon a whole lot of, yeah. And it's such a beautiful mental space to be in, and it adds so much of, I think it impacts their that happiness quotient when you have a great teacher, when you
absolutely.
have a synergistic relationship instead of yeah, I do believe that too. It's such beautiful things. Now, since you have been again, we come back to your passion. How did your first album, let's go to music now. So how did that first album happen? I think Channa was your first album, if I'm not wrong, or was it something else before that?
Channa actually was the first album I did with Times Music, and that was a commercial thing. But it started before that. Actually, uh, we're talking of my good friend Raman. So Raman, me, and couple of our
Yeah.
friends, we were actually doing a project where we were singing. We composed songs on female feticide, iodine deficiency, iron deficiency, addiction, and all this stuff. We had worked on an album called Prayas, which had 8 songs of medical problems. So we recorded
Wow.
these 8 songs in the studio. So that's how we started. We made that album Prayas. So it didn't see much the light of the day. Somehow it didn't happen. But during that recording, Shushant, who is my current music director still, he was the one who was recording those songs. And he said कि डॉक्टर साहब आपकी आवाज़ तो बड़ी अच्छी है, आप अपना कुछ क्यों नहीं करते? So that's how. Then I said, why not? Then I recorded around 6 songs with him. In That was in 2005, 2006. And the Ek Sapna and Ashiki Rakh Diya, those were the songs of that time. Those were actually before Channa. So those are
Oh,
songs which I recorded in
okay.
2005. That's how it
Wow.
started. Then there was a long gap where I didn't do much of any project. But then this Channa thing, because by the time Shushant has had moved from Chandigarh to Mumbai, and he was gradually getting established
Mumbai.
in the
Yeah.
music industry in Mumbai. And then we planned that why not do something again? Let's come back and do again. And that's how Channa came to be. That was with Times Music. Yes.
Okay. So one of the things that I would definitely like to, because I had an opportunity to meet Dr. Abrol, by the way, here in Dubai. So
Oh,
when he was here, and we did
uh-huh.
speak about Prayas.
Oh
And
yes.
one thing that I would like is for the viewer's sake and for all our sake, because of the fact that you, I mean, that is one of the more, I think that would be a very relevant album. If you can find it, please do upload it and share it, because you're talking about all the things that we should be talking about, the elephant in the room, that this show is about social impact. When we talk about infanticide, female feticide, when we talk about, deficiency, iron deficiency, anemia, which I think most of the women suffer in our countries, in our region. And those are the things that you've talked about, and it is such a relevant thing. And to be able to bring these subjects and bring it into a music album is very commendable. It might have not seen the light of the day then. I do think that you should definitely find it and relaunch that, because I am sure
Yes.
that today, as women, we will appreciate that more. And I would love to, I would definitely love to promote it and propagate it more, because currently I actually was very recently appointed as the Dubai chair of G100 Mission Million, and our mission is about spreading this awareness of oneness and acceptance and inclusion and diversity. So please get it back again, and I'm sure that
Why not?
viewers are
Why
going to
not?
go and hunt for prayas.
Yes,
We
yes.
should
Well, definitely.
definitely do that.
Thank you
Now,
for thank you so much for it first.
we should definitely do that, and we will promote that, because I think that is something that can be actually used as anthems. Seriously, anthems,
Absolutely.
for all these, because there is no point in going and harping about women empowerment, and it becomes a facade when you're not walking the talk, right? So enabling them and actually being able to really create an impact is important. And creating an impact is when, people who are such established professional like you, who are talking about these things, right? And it's so important and such a beautiful
Yes, yes.
thing. So next, we would come to one particular question. What is it that people do not know about Dr. Biman Saikia? And I think Sushant just came to the show. Hi, Sushant.
Hi.
Dr. Pramila Chowdhury is there. We have Dr. Anish Sheikh. We have quite a lot of people, Amit Agarwal, all of them. Thank you so very much for joining us. So we have
Thank
Dr.
you for
Biman
joining.
Saikia and
Thank you, everyone.
Sushant. Yeah, thank you for coming. So tell us, what is it that the people who are there in the audience and the world does
Do not.
not know about, that one thing that they do not know about Dr. Biman
Uh,
Saikia?
Actually, there are a lot of things that people do not know about me. But let me think of something.
Okay.
Yes. Um, well, if I talk of my profession, and I'll say that I actually wanted to be an orthopedician. I was very passionate about
Ah,
orthopedics during my house job in Delhi, and I worked in the Dindayal Upadhyay Hospital and Ramanohar Lohia Hospital, and I was very passionate on orthopedics, and that's how where I wanted to specialize. But somehow fate took me to pathology, so I'm a pathologist now. No orthopedics in my life, but that is what I wanted to be, and I wanted to be a surgeon, and so
an
yeah, that
orthopedic
is one
surgeon.
thing. Yeah, not many people would know. And otherwise, the other thing is that I'm very bad in finances. मेरा जेब हमेशा खाली रहता है. मेरा बैंक अकाउंट हमेशा खाली रहता है. So
That is the best thing that you could have said right now.
my bank account is always empty. So I'm very bad in finances. I spend a lot, and I don't know
I'm
where I'm
I'm
spending.
sure that there are a lot of people who will feel good.
Yeah.
I'm sure lots of people would feel good that अच्छा हम ही नहीं है यार, डॉक्टर साइकिया भी ऐसे हैं, इतने पढ़े लिखे हो के भी, इतने established हो के भी, they'll feel that okay, then I don't have to feel, we don't have to feel bad that our bank accounts are empty and
Yeah,
we're not managing
absolutely.
our finance. That's such a cute thing. That's so sweet. That's extremely a sweet thing. So with regards to your music, very recently you actually released a beautiful album, and I actually have a surprise for you. And for all of you viewers, this is the first time we are doing something like this on Converse with KS, and I would love to enthrall you with this. Let's watch.
तुम जो अब सनम मेरे साथ हो, एक लम्हा है बातें हैं सौ, दौड़ के चली जाए शहर, मुलाकातों चले न संग ये चले, मिली न फिर ये मिले, दोनों तरफ ऐसे न फिर जज्बात हो, बेसब्र अब हालात तो हो, शुरुआत हो, तुम जो अब सनम मेरे साथ हो, एक लम्हा है बातें हैं सो।
One of the most beautiful albums. I fell in love with this, and hence I thought that I should really play this. So, for all those of you who have not seen this, each one of the albums that you will see is just amazing. It is fantastic and it is amazing. And I think that is something that all of you should do. And the next thing that I would like to, Dr. Abha Singh, oh my gosh, welcome to the show, and it's an honor to have you here. Thank you so very much. Many of the viewers, by
Welcome,
the way,
Abha.
all of you do not,
Thank you.
yeah, it is so nice to see her. By the way, she is actually Assistant Commissioner of Taxes, IRS. Such amazing people over here on the show, and I'm humbled to have you. Thank you so much. And I think it is because you're here that they're all here. They're all your fans. You know, they definitely have not come because it is K here. It's because Dr. Biman Saikia is here. And we all know that you also write in both languages, Hindi and English. You write beautifully. I would love to hear something that you have written.
I'm not a very good writer, though I have tried. I don't have anything which I can, present as of now, but I don't write regularly, but I do try because I see people like you who write so marvelous. I mean, I really envy you people, how you play with words. I wish I could do that somehow. People like Abha. Abha is here. She's also absolutely beautiful
Abha
writer.
is amazing. Abha is
Yeah,
amazing. Dr. Abha Singh
she
is,
writes beautiful.
she's
And in
another
fact,
person
I
that I
have
would like to have on the show very soon.
yes. So in fact, I have done some music using her poetry, and that will be out
Yes,
soon.
yes.
But yes, I envy people who write, but I don't write much because I don't. Frankly speaking, I do try, but
Dr. Abha doesn't think so. Dr. Abha says that you write so well in Hindi and in English. That's what she's saying. I'm going to trust her because you're very good friends, and I'm going to trust her when she says that.
yeah, I had written
So,
one song. The song I
about
have
music
Ashiki
itself.
Rakh Diya, Ashiki Rakh Diya, that song. That I had written. That
Ah,
is my
because that's what
this.
ah that's what I said. So if you have written, that means you can write. So can you sing a few lines of that? We would love to listen to you. And
Okay.
then we'll go to the next
the,
question. That's
the song I
interesting.
wrote, the Ashiki Rakh Diya. Okay. Well, it goes like
Yes,
this.
yes, of course. I
Yeah.
mean, song you wrote.
आशिकी रख दिया तेरा नाम तिश्नगी रख दिया तेरा नाम ला 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 रात दिन सुबह शाम आशिकी रख दिया तेरा नाम तेरा नाम. It was
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah,
Something
but
like that.
yeah, but so there is an announcement. I think that you were going to make today that will come as a surprise to all of my viewers. Uh, the upcoming project that we have. So
Yes, yes.
would you like to do the honors,
Because
please?
I came to know you as a very good writer, and I your words enthrall me. I mean, the way you play with words, and your Urdu diction is so good. I mean, the selection of words, I really marvel at your poetry, and that's how when I decided I'm going to do a ghazal written by K, and I have selected poetry of K, and we are going to bring it out as in form of a ghazal, which is going to be recorded very soon, maybe as early as next month. So we hope to bring it to you early next year. So let's hope things work well, and K and Biman will be in one project, right?
That is going to be one of my, it's a biggest honor, by the way, for all of you who are there. So I am a crazy maverick. I would call myself a maverick. I'm not so great. I mean, uh, I am a student still, and Urdu is not my mother tongue. Tamil is. But for some reason, Dr. Saikia fell in love with this, and he's going to. Do you remember? I mean, Jo Tars, Jis Tars pe jo na, the composition has come out beautifully. I have actually heard the track, and I am fascinated by it. But do you remember a couple of lines? Maybe we can do
uh,
that. Try it if you do remember.
I don't want to reveal this as of now. Let it come as a surprise. Maybe you can just read it as a poetry, because I have to give it in the the song.
Uh,
Yeah,
so you should. Okay, I will give you
they are
the
your words.
what we have written is something that I will give it to you so that. No, they are my words, but the thing is, you composed it and you got Sushant to compose it. So, what can I say? The way you did it and composed it, I remember you coming back to me and saying, "Okay, we need to. Can we fix this?" And I said, "Yeah, we can." Uh, I will just read it out so he can sing it for you because he has done a brilliant job. सर के ताल्लुक की सजा मांगता है ये दिल तुझसे जुड़ के जिंदगी से रहाई मांगता है ये दिल. Just that one paragraph, I think we will
Yeah, it's beautiful. Actually, beautiful words.
go ahead.
Yeah,
सर के ताल्लुक की सजा अब मांगता है ये दिल तुझसे जुड़ के जिंदगी से रिहाई मांगता है ये दिल.
beautiful.
This is going to be coming out very soon. Sushant, by the way, he is here. He has composed it, and I'm definitely looking forward to it, to him singing this. Now we come to almost the fag end of the show, and in Converse with KS, we do something very, very different. Since every show that you go to, the host is always grilling the guest, and I somehow feel that this 1 hour, almost 1 hour, has gone by way too fast, Dr. Saikia, because there's so much more that I would love to talk to you about, and I'm sure that maybe someday we'll have to get you, and then probably we should do something that is a collective where we have 8 people: Dr. Brol, Dr. Abha, Pramila. All of us should be on one podium, and I think we should discuss a whole lot of things. That's probably a special episode we should
Yeah,
definitely
yeah,
do.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
we actually give the guest an opportunity to ask me 2 questions. So
Oh
we
wow,
have come
oh,
almost to
that's
the fag
great.
show, and you get to ask me 2 questions.
Okay, let me. What prompted you to take up poetry?
We don't tell the guests this.
How
Wow.
did you start writing
What
poetry?
prompted me to take up poetry? I think
Yeah.
my name itself. My
Wow.
mother was actually a Hindi lecturer, and she loved poetry. Even as kids, even as a 2 3 year old, I was fascinated by all the retro songs, Chaudah Ka Chand, Barsat Ki Raat, even the 1953, Kahin Tanhaiyon Mein, that old song. And so every time I listened to these songs, I was fascinated by the words, the way they were put together, what they were expressing. And I would sit with my mother and ask her, what does this mean? What does this mean? And I was fascinated by Urdu even as a small child.
Hmm.
Urdu seemed to be a language that sort of spoke to my soul, and naturally I took to it. Naturally, I took to learning the language as I grew up. But I started writing in English first, and my mom always used to say that I named you Kavita because I like poetry, right? And she loved poetry a whole lot, and she was a Hindi lecturer. So every time I wrote, she encouraged me, and I felt that it was a beautiful way of expressing what I could not express in words. So my silences are generally my poetry.
Wow.
My depth of thought, my challenges, uh, the things I don't understand about life, the things I understand I cannot tell people, I say it through poetry. And there are so much that I don't in between. So poetry for me
Very
is an
true. Very true.
expression that is very, very deep from my soul. So it is that, and I think that's what it is. It was a way for me to get away from the pain, the challenges, the struggles that I had, and the struggles and pain that I saw in people. It used to bother me that people were in pain. It used to bother me that people are suffering. It still does. I mean, there are times I break down when I see somebody suffering. I can't. So I try to be there as much as possible for people who are going through something difficult. So it doesn't matter what I'm going through in life. If there is somebody that I know is going through something, I'll be there. I leave everything
Yes,
and
I
I'll
can.
be there.
Yes, I
So if
can
it's
echo
somebody
the
going through a
feelings
medical
because
treatment, if it's
yeah,
somebody's mother suffering,
I totally echo your feelings because poetry is something which
so
painting is
that's I
for me.
think that's what it was.
Yeah, painting in painting you can create your own world. You can create mountains, you can create trees, you
Yes,
can create rivers. So you become a
yes,
creator. So that is the beauty of the whole thing. Even in poetry, so you become a creator.
exactly.
So my
It's
next
a
question,
beautiful,
yes,
yes.
my next
And I
question
think it
is
is art, right? So poetry is a form of
yes,
art.
yes, yes, yes. And so the next question is, what is your dream project? So that we can, get together and pray that your dream projects once, it comes true. So we would like to know what is it?
Wow. Actually, there are two dream projects. It is not just one. So it is two dream projects. The first one is the reason I'm here. So I am here with a purpose to be able to impact, serve as many people of the world as possible, educate as many people as possible, especially girl children, employ as many people as possible, house as many people as possible. This is a very huge project that I am on. So this is my dream project as I stay here, my business, and through that being able to impact in a very, very large way. It's a dream project. This is the dream of my life. This is a project of my life here in Dubai. My second project is a very, very special project. My business partner also happens to be an amazing, amazing, amazing singer. You have heard him, Khansa. Very recently, I sent
Yes,
you
I've heard him. Yes,
his yes.
he's very good.
So
I really love
my
this.
my he is amazing. He's fascinating because Rafi साहब के जो गाने, तलत महमूद साहब के गाने जो गाते हैं. My dream, by the way, is a very shy, reserved, and a very, very, very you know uh, I don't know. I mean, he's an introvert, extreme introvert. I want to be able to see him in albums. So releasing his music album would be my dream. Getting him
Okay,
to
that's
agree
great.
to that and releasing his album so the world can be enthralled by his voice is my dream project. My second dream project is going to be that. I don't know if I
That's
will
great.
achieve that because I don't know if I can get him to agree to that. But yeah, getting his voice across to the world because that is a voice. Just like you, Dr. Saikia, Dr. Brol, all of you, such beautiful singers. You actually got yourself to come on that album. I'm happy you did, right? And I want to see his album across the world. That is my dream project, and it also happens to be Shaji's. So we both are, we both talk about it that this man's voice needs to be out there in the world, and I know that the day the world will hear, Bollywood will pick him up.
That's great. We
They've
wish him
just not heard
success,
him.
and you also. I'm sure it will happen today. I'm very sure.
Thank you.
I'm very sure. Yeah.
Inshallah. Inshallah. Thank you so, so very much, Dr. Saikia, for being here. And one of the dreams also is that, I've told him that all of you amazing singers should go on one album. So it should be all your favorite songs, and one album should be all of you. And the world will hear that talent is this. It's not just the profession, your medical profession, the amazing human being that you are. I'm sure you're a fantastic doctor, a beautiful poet, an amazing singer. You're such a complete package, Dr. Saikia. And Converse with KS has been honored to have you today. Nurture from Nurture Life side, from my side. Thank you for taking our invitation so seriously, being here and giving us such a beautiful interview. And I'm sure that people who have watched you are definitely very happy today. Thank you so, so much
Thank
for
you
being here.
so much
Thank you.
thank you so much. Thank you. Honored.
It's a pleasure. Good luck with everything that you're doing. Good luck with your new albums that you are doing with Dr. Abha. Thank you so very much for continuing this musical journey and not giving up. Good luck with being an artist. And all of you and in the audience, thank you so very much, Dr. Pramila, all of you, every single one of you. And my godson is here, by the way. Horizon Theatre say I have Gaurav over here. Thank you so much for being here. All of you, thanks for being here. Next week, we join with another amazing guest that you will not want to miss. It is going to be Mathayo Bofa, who is one of the top-notch 30 under 30 Forbes serial entrepreneur and an angel investor who is going to come and enthrall you with more knowledge, more wisdom. Join us and always support us the way you have been doing. Thank you so much. This is KS signing off. Converse with KS is grateful for all your patronage. And Nurture Life thanks you for being here. Thank you so very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye bye, everybody. Good night.
Bye bye.